Diane Latiker of Chicago, Illinois, founded Kids Off the Block in 2003. 15 years later, the organization has serviced over 3,000 children, serving neighborhood kids in her South Side Chicago suburb who came to her home in droves for homework and job-related help, offering her home as a refuge against violence and gang activity. We're delighted to have tonight Diane Latiker. Flew in just today from Chicago. Please welcome Diane. Diane, tell us, how did you get started in doing this work that you've been doing for 13 years, right?
15 years.
Yeah. How'd you get started with that?
So my husband and I have 8 kids. We have 4 boys and 4 girls. We had, that's what I said, no. Anyway, we had one at home, Aisha. She was 13 years old. I didn't want her to, my other kids were grown and they were gone. So I wanted Aisha to graduate from high school and go to college. And I wanted to keep up with her. So I took her and her 9 friends skating and swimming and all that stuff to keep them occupied. My mom said, Diane, you should do something with those kids. They like and respect you. And in my mind, I'm going, no, I don't want to do this. I'm going to be able to go fishing and be free when Aisha's gone. But I prayed about it for 3 days. And I just asked them to come into my home. So that's how it started, with 9 kids from my neighborhood.
And 3,000 kids later, you've ministered to.
Yeah.
Years. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
you. Thank you so much.
So tell us more about the neighborhood that you're a part of.
The neighborhood is fighting against itself with violence. There's a lot of hopelessness. That's one of my biggest things, though, is giving kids hope and making them believe that they are worth living past 21, because they don't believe that. And the neighborhood itself is economically depressed, poverty, but that still is not a reason to give people hope. So that's what we do. That's what we try to do.
You, I'm sure that you must have encountered all sorts of children and young men, young women who have had difficult times. Are there particular memories of young men or young women that you carry with you, that you remember what the brokenness looks like in your neighborhood?
Oh, definitely. One was named David Rogers. David Rogers was 15 years old when he came to me. He loved basketball, right? But he would curse every time he come on the court. I'd throw him off the court. He'd come back the next day, curse again. I'd throw him back off. Till finally he just said, Miss Diane, I didn't know how to talk to anybody, you know. That's how I talked. I grew up like that. Got David into all kind of activities, got him a job, a summer job. 2 years he was doing so good. I was going up there talking to his dean, getting his grades up. And then one day he rode up on his bike, like 3 years later, and just said, Miss Diane, I don't believe in that peace thing you're talking about. I'm coming from downtown with 12 other young people from an anti-youth violence rally, and I see all these red tapes around my block, and it was David. They had killed him. And when I tell you, you feel like just everything sheds from you because you didn't do enough, or I should have snatched him off the bike and just said, oh, you're gonna listen, but I didn't. And I hate that we can't do more to convince young people that it's more to life than the gun and violence and just depression.
In the midst of that, I'm very moved by some of the stories from a CNN story who's recognized you as one of their top heroes.
Yes.
But the story about the monument that you've done, tell us about that.
There's a memorial for young people killed by violence across the street from my house. It started in May of 2007 from Blair Holt. He was a 16-year-old honor roll student. He was on his way home on CTA bus. And a young man, a 14-year-old, got on the bus and sprayed the bus, trying to kill somebody else, and they killed Blair. When my daughter had went to school with Blair and I knew his father, I was angry. I was tired of marching and rallying and meeting. It wasn't working. And I was at Home Depot and I saw these stones, and they looked like little headstones. And I bought 30 of them. That's all the money I had. I bought 30. And I put up this memorial about this high, and I said, I want to shock my community, and I want to shock the young people. We're losing generations to violence. That memorial, we've rebuilt it now 15 times. It has almost 800 stones in it. We are behind 400. We can never catch up. These young people are 24 years and down. We don't go over 24 years. The youngest is a 1-year-old who was getting her diaper changed. Sorry. She was getting her diaper changed, and they were trying to kill her father. So that's the memorial is just to shock my community. I had no idea it would grow the way it has, but I'm still wondering why it's no outrage. Those young people belong to a family. They belong to somebody. Somebody loved them.
What happens when you see young people come see that memorial, that monument?
I've seen so many of them go and get a job, go back to school. It literally because most of their friends are in it. So it literally, I've seen them change their lives in front of it.
Please, again, welcome Diane Latiker.
Thank you.
Thank you.